Yesterday we discussed about the duties of a husband. If someone has missed that class, they can get the recordings. So, Mother Devahuti, she is compared here with Bhavani. As we discussed yesterday, that Devahuti was coming from a very opulent family, a royal family. And then she chose a husband out of her own sweet will, as per the instructions of Narad Muni. She chose a husband who doesn't have anything, who lived in a jungle, in a hut. What was her purpose of accepting such a person? To better understand this situation, there is a comparison being made of hers with the wife of Lord Shiva. There is a great history about Parvati. Parvati had to take rebirth. There is an episode once Lord Shiva Okay, I was thinking, what's happening? Narsingh Dev is getting into business. There was an episode that once Lord Shiva and Sati means the Parvati's earlier name Sati, they both went to hear Ramakatha from Agastya Muni. And after hearing Ramakatha, Agastya Muni requested Lord Shiva to speak on the aspect of devotional service. So Lord Shiva spoke on Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu to Agastya Muni. And Sati was hearing both the conversations. And after which they both departed. They departed for Kailash, offering their respectful obeisances to Agastya Muni. And while they were departing, Lord Shiva understood that Lord Ramachandra is already performing some pastimes here. So Lord Shiva thought, let me go and offer my respectful obeisances. If the Lord is there performing pastimes, I'll just take darshan of the Lord from the distance. That's it. So he took his good wife Sati and went at the place where Lord Ramachandra was in separation from his wife. And he was crying. And Lakshman was pacifying him. Lord Shiva went and he saw Lord Ramchandra and he offered his repeated obeisances. He was very amazed with the darshan of the Lord. He again offered his obeisances. Third time he also offered his obeisances. He was very happy seeing the form of the Lord, Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramchandra was crying in separation from his wife because Ravana took her. Away. Interestingly, Sati was disturbed by this. Sati was saying, my dear husband, you are Lord Shiva. All the devatas, they respect you. Why on earth you have to go and offer obeisances to this insignificant person, Ramachandra? He's saying insignificant? We just now are coming from Agastya Muni's place and we heard about the Lord Ram. What is wrong with you? He said, no, this Ram and that Ram is different. I don't believe you. Lord Shiva said, Acha, you don't believe me? I would like to test him. Who is saying Sati? Durga? Mahamaya? She is saying that she wants to test Lord Ram. So Lord Shiva just took out his bead bag and sat under a tree. And he said, you please proceed. And Lord Shiva said, Hoi soi jo Ram rachi rakha, ko kari tark badavai sakha. He said, whatever the Lord Ram's will is going to happen. So Sati went and sat sat on the pathway where Lord Ramchandra was passing by, and she disguised herself as Sita. Sati took the form of Sita, and with a thought that if he is the Supreme Lord, then he will recognize me as Sati. But he is an ordinary person, he will consider me as Sita and he will approach me in the same way. Interestingly, Lakshman on a distance saw this. When she was sitting under a tree, Lakshman saw this. Lakshman got very disturbed. And why this Sati has to play this drama? Huh? Why this unnecessary chaos? Already brother Ramchandra is crying, and I'm trying to pacify him. We are trying to figure out a situation, and this lady, she's creating such unnecessary disturbance. Lakshman was very disturbed. Lord Ramchandra pacified him then. And then both of them, they approached Sati. She said, "Oh Mata Sati, what is wrong with you? Is everything okay? Are you in some difficulty? You have any problems? Should we help you out? Where is Mahadev?" And she realized that I am caught. I am exposed. My hypocrisy is exposed. And interestingly, when our Sati, she went back to Mahadev, and Mahadev asked, "So, did Lord Ramchandra pass your test?" He said, "Which test? I did not take any test. I just went and I realized my husband can never be wrong. So I just offered my obeisances and I came back." Mahadev said, "Baba, if I know Sati, then it is not that simple." So Lord Shiva closed his eyes. He meditated on exactly what has happened. He was shocked. And Mahadev's worshipable deity, just like Simachalam Vasis, or many of them, they worship Narsimhadev as their everything. For Mahadev, Sita and Ram were his everything. Mother Sita, Swamini, his wife took the form of his Swamini, Mother Sita. Lord Shiva thought that she has lost her way, looks like. Lord Shiva rejected her in the heart. Important point to be noted. Situation was chaotic, disturbing. But Lord Shiva did not say a word to her. Between a husband and a wife, if there is such kind of situation, best is to keep quiet. Where your partner is going against your will, there is no point in arguing, because the mistake is already committed. Lord Shiva thought, why should I argue with her? So Lord Shiva said, I will disturb my bhajan. So Lord Shiva rejected her within the heart itself. Already this is age of Kali, and quarrel and hypocrisy is very normal. Small thing, there are quarrel, there are disagreements. So take a lesson from Lord Shiva. He kept quiet, but he rejected her from inside. And the devatas, all of a sudden, they manifested in the sky. And interestingly, what happened? Devatas started showering flowers on Lord Shiva. They said, "Thank you. Oh my dear Lord, you are such a great devotee that you rejected your wife, Sati." Sati heard the conversation among the devatas. She is asking, "Mahadev, what is this? What is your sankalpa? Whom you have rejected?" Neither the devatas spoke, neither Lord Shiva spoke. And Mahadev took Sati and started walking to Kailash. And Mahadev, to divert her mind, he started discussing pastimes of the Lord from the Puranas. When Mahadev saw the lifespan of Sati, When Mahadev saw the lifespan of Sati, it was 27,000 years. Sati had a lifespan of 27,000 years. Mahadev thinking, how can I adjust this for 27,000 years? Imagine you don't have to talk to your wife. Or wife doesn't have to talk to husband for such a long time. Mahadev decided, let me absorb myself in bhajan. He went into samadhi. For 27,000 years he went into samadhi. And that's where this particular pastimes is from Puranas. And now we connect in the Bhagavatam, the 4th canto, where Daksha and Sati is that pastimes where Lord Shiva comes out of meditation. So that in that way we enter Bhagavatam now. So Sati wanted to, when he came out of meditation, Sati wanted that let us go to Daksha's house. Because Daksha Prajapati was performing yajna. And Sati refused. Lord Shiva refused to go with Sati. He was trying to convince her that place where we are not respected, not go. But Shiva is saying, my dear husband, that place is the house of my father. Going to temple, going to father's house, going to the place of the spiritual master should be normal. Even one should not seek respect or disrespect there. And then Lord Shiva said that, yes, you may be right in the principle, but here, if we go there, it will create a chaotic situation. It will disturb everything. So let's not go. But Sati was in bewilderment. And in that bewilderment, she was going outside the room, back. She was going outside, coming back, going outside, coming back. And finally she decided to go. And that's where she went there. And she gave up her body because she saw Lord Shiva was insulted. Now this Sati, she gave up her body and she was again born as the daughter of Himalayas. Okay? And here she was again into a royal family, born into a royal family, born with the golden spoon. Everything was there. She went through intense tapasya. Lord Shiva, now what happened with Lord Shiva is very important. Lord Shiva took sannyas. Lord Shiva took sannyas and he was roaming on the earthly planet like a mendicant. He had no business with Grahastha ashram. He was roaming like a sannyasi. Avduta sannyasi. Avduta. His name is Avduta. She was roaming on the earthly planet. Indifferent from the world. Nobody knew this is Lord Shiva. Completely indifferent. Babaji. Huh? So what happened was, Sati was born as Parvati and she was now worshipping again Lord Shiva. And then eventually, after Lord Shiva took lots of tests, and finally she got again married to Lord Shiva as Parvati. And when they met after the marriage, when they met and they sat down peacefully, she asked her again, you were telling something about Lord Ramchandra. Can you continue the discussion again? It took one birth for her to understand the glories of Lord Ram. So here, Devahuti has been compared to Parvati. Why? Because Parvati is the daughter of Himalayas and she chose Lord Shiva as her husband. Now Lord Shiva has no material opulence. Although he is the giver of material opulence, but he himself has no material opulence. He stays under a tree. So here, Parvati chose him because he was rich with devotional qualities. What kind of devotional qualities he had? He was the greatest of the Vaishnavas. If we also want to cross this material ocean, we need mercy of Lord Shiva. Without the blessings of Lord Shiva, one cannot cross this material ocean. So Lord Shiva's blessings is very important. And Sati chose him Why? Because he was a Vaishnava. Lord Shiva has two kinds of mercy. Sakapat Kripa and Nishkapat Kripa. There are two kinds of blessings which Lord Shiva gives to his followers. If you approach him for material opulence, he gives Sakapat Kripa. Sakapat means mercy with kapat, with cheating. He cheats his followers. How? How he cheats? He gives them all the material opulence. And he keeps them bereft of the actual thing, actual benefit, which is bhakti, devotion to Lord Hari. And Lord Shiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya. He is Acharya of one of the Sampradayas. You need to understand this. There are 4 Sampradayas. Ours is Brahma Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, Kumara Sampradaya, and Rudra Sampradaya, coming from Mahadev. He is an Acharya. So Devahuti, for her also, she had an option that she should have chosen someone else, very opulent, so that her opulent life continues. But she chose a simple person who is just absorbed in meditation, is absorbed in Krishna consciousness throughout 24 hours. So he chose, she chose, Devahuti chose. And how did she serve him? It's very important to know that Devahuti, she served him with great love. Very important point, because she was coming from a royal family and living in a simple condition. Imagine you have to go and stay in a place where you have just a small hut, right? And there is no heater, no facility for hot water facility, no heating facility. Very simple life. And then a very opulent, rich girl comes and wants to get married to you. So that was the situation with Kardamuni. The Kardamuni was living simple life and she came there. Today also, in the Vedic culture, Lord Shiva is worshipped by lots of girls to have a good husband like him. So they worship. So Lord Shiva blesses them with if someone wants a husband like Lord Shiva, then one can pray, and then Lord Shiva will arrange that there is a devotee husband coming to your life. Now, it is said in the next verse that Vishram bhenatma sauchena gauravena damena cha. Devahuti served her husband in 2 ways. Vishrambhena and Gauravena. Vishrambhena means what? Vishrambhena means with intimacy. Gauravena means with reverence. Now, the relationship of a husband and wife is a very important relationship. There is a intimate friendship between both of them. So Devahuti, she served Kardam Muni with Vishrambhena. Vishrambhena means intimacy. Becoming a very intimate friend of her husband. It's a very important point that husband and wife, they share friendship with each other. There shall be no superiority or inferiority complex. The wife is thinking that I am coming from a royal family and he is very insignificant, staying in a small hut. It is his fortune that I have come and become his wife. If that is the consciousness, then friendship cannot happen. Very, very important point. She rendered service to her like an intimate friend, and at the same time, she understood that my husband is the greatest of the devotees. He is is very much devoted and fixed up in his devotional life to Lord Hari. So he understands his elevated position as a great devotee of the Lord. And at the same time, she understood her role. It is very important that in a relationship, the husband and wife, they understand each other's role in the relationship. Here, Devoti understood what is her role. Her role was to become an intimate friend of her husband. A man's psychology and woman's psychology are different. Okay? And so they have to understand each other's temperament. If they don't understand each other's temperament, then there will be constant disagreements, irritation, troubles in the married life. So that understanding each other's temperament is very, very, very much important. In this case, the husband was very elevated, saintly person. Great sadhu. He was fixed up. Even though after marriage also, he continued his life of devotional service. When many times when people who have practiced brahmacharya and when they take up to grahastha ashram, we see brahmacharis, when they take to grahastha ashram, they follow the same schedule, and that disturbs the wife. I used to get many such concerns from the wife that my husband is still a brahmachari. He's still living a life of a vairagi. And then this example is very ideal. But yes, he is continuing his highest standard of Krishna consciousness, even though he is married. So this was very natural in this scenario, and it is said that if husband does something wrong, the wife has to tolerate, and if wife does something wrong, the husband has to tolerate. The tolerance is the key for a successful married life. If there is no tolerance, then every day we'll see banging of the utensils. After 6 months. First 6 months is the golden period of married life. After 6 months, the real show begins. And the first 2 years of marriage, how you mold your relationship, that decides the entire lifespan of your relationship. So the first two years are very, very crucial, very, very important. Now, Devahoti was offering great respects to, she understood my husband is the greatest, very elevated Vaishnava. So she was intimacy was there, she was serving intimately. At the same time, she was also with reverence. She had understanding my husband is even greater devotee than Brahma. And he was, which he was. When Kardama Muni created the opulence, right? He manifested a mansion. That mansion was so powerful that it traveled everywhere, and that manifestation, that mansion was not created by the Maya of the Lord. It was created by Yog Maya potency. That is mentioned. It was the mansion which Kardama Muni created was not a creation of Mahamaya. It was a creation of the Yoga Maya potency, because Kardama Muni was such an elevated personality that his life, Mahamaya cannot touch him. And that's why the mansion he created it is mentioned in Bhagavatam that it is created by the Yoga Maya potency. And that's why for hundreds of years also, he was enjoying her, but it never had any impact on Kardama Muni. So, a person who becomes agitated with material contact in the outside world, Usually what happens when the husband takes a responsibility of working outside, then he has to go through a lot of political situations, different scenarios, and his minds get disturbed. When he comes home, he expects that home should be home sweet home. These days we see uh, that husband and wife both have to work. In this scenario, both of them are impacted. But if only husband has to go and work outside, then the wife should have this understanding that he's going through a lot of troubles for earning money, which is not very easy. When he comes home, he should get a sweet atmosphere, a happy atmosphere. So that is the way she can control her husband. It is said in the scriptures there are two ways she can control the husband, and she can whatever she wants from her, she can achieve it. What are the two ways? She has to cook very nicely, and she has to talk very sweetly. By these two things, if she can do these two things, talk very sweetly, very lovingly, very affectionately, and cook very nicely. By these two things, she can achieve whatever she wants in her household life. Her husband will be in her control. Now, Devahuti, she was working very sanely and diligently, and she gave up all the lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. Kardamuni had great spiritual qualification, very powerful, but he was only absorbed in tapasya, and it is not easy when the husband is neglecting you, right? But in this situation, husband is neglecting her and was absorbed in the lotus feet of the Lord, so this is acceptable. So, a wife if she's coming from such an opulent background, then she has to give up her pride. Because if pride comes in the middle, then she will not be able to serve husband nicely, and she will not be able to derive benefit from him. Sometimes it happens that a girl is coming from a very rich and aristocratic family, then she's proud of her opulence. And we have seen that many times she brings a lot of wealth with her, lot of opulence with her. And then she puts restriction on the husband that, oh, you should not use this, you should not, this is my father gave this, that. All these things come in. So that if the wife is proud of this opulence, and if she's showing also in that relationship, that is going to disturb. Similar situation, sometimes the husband is very, very rich and the wife is coming from a very, very poor family, right? And then husband puts a lot of restriction on her that, see, you are coming from a very poor family, I am very, very rich. So your parents are very, very poor. So like that he may insult her. So such kind of scenarios should be avoided. In a husband-wife relationship, friendship means when you have and friendship means it has to be friends. When there should be no pride in any kind of opulence. It's a very important thing. The husband also should be submissive. The wife also should be submissive. This is a selfless relationship where we are selflessly serving the other partner. It is something not that the husband is superior or his wife is inferior. No, they both have their roles to play, right? And they have to both understand each other, and they should render a service selflessly. Selfish relationship means it will, today or later, it is going to create disturbance. If the relationships are only meant for sense enjoyment, and with that we are only concerned about self, my happiness. But in a married life, in a relationship, we have to consider the happiness of the partner. And when we are thinking of the happiness of the partner, then that relationship is selfless. And then the both of them, if they are in this mood, then the marriage is successful. It doesn't matter you are in India or in Western world. If you are Usually people say that the Indian marriage is successful, Western marriages are not successful, but it is not like that. It is the basic principles of married life which they follow. How you handle married life, that is very very important. Chanakya Pandit is saying there are four kind of enemies. If a father is in the debt, if the father is in debt, then he is considered to be an enemy. If the mother has selected another husband in the presence of her children, she is also considered to be an enemy. If a wife does not live well with her husband, but deals very roughly with her, with him, then she is also considered as an enemy. It is very important that if a husband is working very hard outside, when he comes home, it should be natural that he experiences, he gets a good experience at home. He gets a good experience in the relationship because he is already frustrated outside. And when he comes home, then he gets additional frustration from inside. So where will he go? So it is very important that this home sweet home concept is very much important, that he gets a good experience. If we don't get a good experience in relationship, that relationship will not last long. Everyone wants, every partner wants what? Every partner, they want to be treated very nicely, right? Treated with respect, right? Very important. So we should also understand that I should also do the same. I should also treat my partner with respect. If I expect respect, then I should also give respect. So that respectful relationship is very very harmonious and very harmonious for a married life. Then Dehuti, she served her husband without, she did not have any lusty desires in her heart. It was not that she was very agitated out of lust and she was behind him for sense enjoyment, for sexual life. No, she was completely controlling her senses. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that Devahuti is Veda Lakshana. Kardam Muni was Mahayogi and Devahuti was Yoga Lakshana. Means she had yogic perfection in her life. Yama Niyam, all these things, she had perfected her life to yogic practice. She was not envy of her husband. She had no envious that my husband is an elevated soul. I should be advanced to some extent. So that kind of envy was also not there. She was very naturally happy that my husband has superior qualities than me in Krishna consciousness, in devotional life. And Dehuti was naturally not engaged in committing any kind of sinful activities. And neither she had any desires. She was giving up her lust, giving up her pride, giving up her envy, giving up her greed. She did not have any greed for having any material opulence. It was not that she was thinking that my husband should also go, she should give up this tapasya, go and start earning, and then bring some money. It was not her desire also. So she gave up her greed also. And then Kardam Muni was engaged in his tapasya, but there was one desire in the heart of Devahuti. There was one desire, and that desire was to beget children from Kardam Muni. So wife is expected to be of the same category as husband. It's very important that she must be prepared to follow the principles of married life. Right? She has served her husband very nicely. Sometimes what happens, the wife is materialistic and the husband is devotee. So that is the scenario, then the wife needs to understand the temperament of the husband and accordingly cooperate. Sometimes the wife is very advanced in Krishna consciousness and the husband is not that advanced. At that time, the husband needs to cooperate with her and understand. It is, if the wife is advanced in bhakti, then the husband should accept her instructions from her. He should not be ashamed to accept instructions from his wife if she is advanced in Krishna consciousness. We have seen in our Vedic culture practical examples. In Mahabharata, Gandhari, when she understood that her husband Dhritarashtra is going to be blind, immediately she accepted blindness willingly. She also closed her eyes. Why? Why did she do that? She decided that since her husband is blind, and if I have and I am having eyes, vision, then that is not equality. If my husband is blind, I should be also blind. Then we will be of equal disposition. So with that thought process, with that understanding, she covered her eyes and she played a role of a blind woman, just so that her husband and she are on the same level. That is the commitment she had. And in this way, devotee was serving with all the circumstances which were there in front of her. She was serving her husband very nicely. And her husband was also very, very pleased with her service. So what was the conversation between both of them? That we will discuss tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Any questions? We can take them. Yes, Prabhu.
One of the last points you made, that the husband has to accept instructions by the wife if she is more advanced in spiritual life. But in ideal situation, if the husband would be intelligent, but when he's not so advanced, it might be very difficult.
Yes.
So isn't that right from the beginning an incompatible situation? Right? Will that not anyway lead to lots of problems if the wife is more advanced in spiritual life than the husband?
Yes.
And by nature, of course, the husband wants to lead, has to lead, and then he is in that sense not capable. So what if a couple finds itself in such a situation, what would be the most realistic outcome, how to solve this?
Now, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So, the most important point for a marriage is the mutual understanding between each other. Now, if it might be here, if you're saying the point is if the girl is very advanced than the husband. So this can be any other thing also. Like she's very opulent, for example, and husband is very poor. So in any situation, the mutual understanding between the husband and wife is what really matters. If they have a good understanding with each other, so that has to be sat down and talked to each other. Yesterday we were discussing about the role of a husband, and there also we mentioned that if the wife is very more qualified, then what is the problem in accepting the good things from her? But the male ego is the sometimes which hampers. But in relationship, in friendship, there is wife and husband are good friends of each other. So there is no question of ego. They are partners. They are one soul and two bodies. It should be that relationship. So if this situation is there, then there has to be proper discussion. Without discussion, without mutual understanding, this such situation cannot be resolved. And if the situation is like that, they both are married and there is a relationship, there are in that relationship where the wife is very advanced, husband is not, and husband has still material desires and he's enjoying the material world, that time they both have to learn to cooperate with each other. If they want to continue relationship, then they have to cooperate with each other with mutual discussion. They have to agree on a lot of things, and it still can be peaceful marriage if things are done with proper discussion and understanding. If there is no communication between them, if wife and husband, they're not communicating nicely with each other, then the chaotic situation arises in every relationship. Because the husband is busy in his own world, wife is busy in his own world, and eventually the communication gap increases. There is no discussion, and when some things goes, and there are some things which goes beyond, beyond their scope of knowledge, then they get irritated, they get frustrated. There is a chaotic situation. So the couple needs to learn to spend quality time with each other. They might be busy in their own worlds, but sharing the thoughts, sharing lot of things with each other, communication, that is very important. If that communication is done very nicely, in a good way, in a decent way, and things are understood on both sides, then the relationship can go nicely. It doesn't matter if this is the situation. But if that communication gap is there, when there is lack of communication, lack of mutual understanding, then any relationship will fail. That is my humble suggestion. Any other questions?
Just on that point, but what if, as Vaishnavas, we try to take the humble position, right? And see the other one as more advanced, usually. But where you have a husband and wife, where the wife is saying, no, I know better than you, I'm advanced, and the husband says, no, I know. Like, it could be just two clashing of egos, or?
Someone says he's advanced, then he's never advanced. It is a practice of our inclination that if someone says, I am an advanced devotee, then that means he has never understood Krishna consciousness. The more he spends quality time, he or she spends quality time, and the more she bears more and more fruits of bhakti, she'll become more grounded. So, more grounded, and then that relationship will be different. Being grounded is very, very important. So, if the wife is advanced, then she'll be more grounded. If in this is the scenario, then wife should do her duties nicely towards husband, and then out of love she can convert the husband very easily. Love is a very important factor. Loving dealings is a very important factor. How you deal with the situation. If the same situation, now if you're in a situation, in a relationship, let's suppose there is a situation, okay? If you deal angrily with it, what are the results? You should, before you deal with the situation, try to understand that if I deal in this situation with my partner in a loving way, what can be the result? And if I get angry at her, what can be the result? Or if the wife also, if she's dealing with the husband, if the wife decides, okay, if I am lovingly talking to my husband, sitting down and pacifying him, feeding him nicely, taking him outside on a date, feeding him, going to some restaurant, something like that. So how we approach the situation is very, very important. So that approach has to be nice. If the wife is like that, then she should do her duties very nicely. There should be no chance where the husband has to complain, oh, my dear wife, you are not doing this for me. No, she should check all the boxes, and then said, I hope, my dear husband, you're happy with myself. And there should be no way that he said, no, I am not. If she does her duties nicely, then things will mold. With love, with loving dealings, you can mold anybody's heart. And with anger, even loving relationships break. That is the main thing, is the relationships are affected today because of two reasons basically. One is they don't spend quality time with each other, husband and wife, because of the children, because of the service engagement, the husband and wife not spending quality time with them. And second thing is they don't lovingly talk with each other. They can bring in this aspect, loving dealings, then life will be different. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, good. Yes, please.
Thank you for your explanations. They're very helpful. We talk also so much about forgiveness and tolerance. And can you give an example what in a relationship, what we should not tolerate, what we should not like to step out of it, of the relationship?
Actually, when one is in the relationship, there are a lot of things which should be cleared upfrontly before marriage only. Okay, lot of things needs to be cleared upfrontly. That this is my liking, this is my disliking, this is my nature, this is how I am, and then she can also this is, and she can. So first thing is that especially for those who are not married, please make sure that you ask appropriate questions to your partner and try to know more about them, so that you get an understanding of what is that personality you have to spend time with, right? But if you're already into relationship, already married, then we should try our best to manage the situation through different ways, which we were discussing. We will continue discussing them in the next few days. There are so many things. But the physical abuse, okay, that is what should not be tolerated, because it is a sin. If the husband abuses a wife or a wife abuses a husband, in both things it is a sinful activity. So that in that scenarios, things should not be tolerated. But if this is not the scenario, then everything else can be molded with love. Then every relationship can become a loving relationship. It is how to just you handle the situation with love, with care, with discussions. Things can be molded.
But the nature of the woman is more like forgiving, no? Forgiving even if there is violence and abuse. So how you relate to that? I mean...
Yeah, she's forgiving provided the husband repents for it. Husband repents for his mistake and agrees to not commit it again.
But this is usually not the case. So what is the solution? In a way.
Discuss with the partner. What is the solution?
If this is
ask
also
him
not,
what is the solution.
Not possible. If this is not possible because of often the ego or whatever, the pride.
There is something in if the husband gets if our partner gets angry, okay, what triggers him, we need to understand the temperament of that person. Okay, so what is making him angry? Go to the root. What is triggering him? What is making him angry? Why is he not peaceful? Why is his dealings like this? That needs to be also reflected upon. So there are experts. There are in that scenarios. Then in this if the scenario, then there are experts whom you can take advice. There are relationship coaches. You can take advice, because they would like to go in the root of what is exactly going wrong. Why that anger is coming out? Why this cannot be peaceful? So that root cause needs to be understood. And if that, just like for example, if one has to do root canal to our teeth, if the doctor comes and the dentist just fixes this on the surface only and doesn't clean the dirtiness or the disease from the root, then it is going to come back again. But if the dentist treats the patients and cleans the root canal, the disease from the root itself, right? Then there is no pain, right? I have gone through that root canal, so now there is no pain. So similarly, the disease of anger or disturbance is there in the heart. So you need to understand that where you need to address that situation from the root. Before you take a decision of rejecting someone or abandoning someone, this operation needs to be done. And you need a doctor for that. Because sometimes a familiarity is, because of the familiarity, that discussion doesn't go to that level. But if there are experts, coaches who can take the couple through a sessions, and where they can analyze, self-analysis is very important. If that person can, the husband can analyze, he's been showed his mirror and he can analyze, self-reflect on his situation, the mirror can be shown to him, then there is a better chances that the person will come out in a good way. But that root canal operation needs to be done. For that we need a doctor, expert coach.
Thank you.
I think it's on. Just on that, for example,
Take him outside.
I lived with what looked like a very nice Indian couple when I was in England, but it turned out that the husband was beating the wife regularly, and the root cause in that scenario was that the husband had grown up in India where he'd seen his father regularly beat, right?
Yes.
And the person, it was too deep for him, although he was still young, that he could not change this. But I know in some scenarios, although it's quite hard to get to that cause, they can, with some help, change that. But in this case, it was...
So here the husband needs, in this scenario, the husband needs to understand that something is, first is accepting that something is wrong with me.
It was
And in my upbringing and everything. That is the first thing. And then an effort has to be made from his side to change. That is the first step which he has to take. Understanding that I have a disease of anger. I have a problem of, I have been raised in an association where there was fights all the time. Therefore, that samskaras are inbuilt in. So that first one needs to understand that. And when one realizes, oh, I have a problem, I have been committing a mistake. The second thing is to realize that I have that mistake, that he has been committing a mistake, grave mistake in this relationship. That someone has given up her, everything and come to you and staying with you, tolerating you. So then that needs to be understood. And when that is there, that repentance is there, then efforts has to be put from the wife's side and the husband's side, both the sides, that this can be normalized. But the first step is that he accepting and realizing that I have problem. Right? If he says I have no problem, I am all good, I am perfect, then this is not going to work. Then there is no cure for this, because the patient is not willing to get taking treatment. Okay. And every relationship goes through such scenarios in life. The scenarios, not physically, but there are time comes when the real nature comes out of the husband or a wife. And that time when the real nature is out, that is the way how you handle it is very important. How the partners handle it, how you handle it. So there is a lot of maturity needed in handling such scenarios. The other partner has to be very matured. Very matured. Okay, yes.
Just on a question on this, I heard or I read one time that actually when you're in a relationship, before all of this hiding, this sort of, we want to present our best self, right? But sometimes you may hide some parts of your nature. And I heard that it's about 2 years before one really sees fully how the other person is. Now, just in relationship, you said just before one gets married, one should really see each other's nature. Is that a reason why one should then, you know, court each other for some time?
That's why 3 to 6 months of time should be given before one says okay. At the same time, when they are planning to divorce also, give 1 year of time. There was a couple who was planning to divorce. They agreed. They were separating. So I suggested them for 1 year. They're Western couple. I suggested them that 1 year, without getting into relationship with anybody else, just stay single. And 7th month, the marriage was fixed again. They came back. Condition was you should not get into any other relationship. If after 1 year you have that same anger towards that person, and you cannot go with that, But what happens if they're in love, right? Then after they experience separation, both sides, and then they both want to come back to each other. So before separating also, you should give 1 year time. And before accepting also, you should at least give 6 months time. Because in 6 months, you get to know that person in different ways. His dealings with other devotees, his dealings in different situations. So lot of things matter. Because 6 months, lot of things happens, up, down, right, left, lot of things happen in our life, his life. And we can experience every scenario. We can see them practically. That 6 months of time needs to be given before minimum. I usually suggest 6 months to 1 year, but that is difficult, but 6 months is minimum. And for separation, if you are planning to separate with each other, please give 1 year of time. Because that your separation is going to impact so many people around you. Not just your family, the devotees and everything will be impacted. So 1 year of time needs to be given, that stay away from each other, okay? And allow time to heal your and then the natural things will come out. But both of them should be committed that we don't get into any relationship. So that is the point. That is like giving a relationship a chance. And 1 year of healing. And it heals. If they are genuinely in love with each other, they like each other, and only it is because this is the behavioral issue, or then if things are not gone out of hands, then they will come back. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.